A couple of weeks ago, I experienced rapid, unexpected descent from the lower roof on our house in progress here in the beautiful Pacific Northwest and managed to catch hold of the metal, arresting my fall into a planned jump, but also slashing my hand open. Since then, Casey has been doing all the hard work and the handwork that I can't, and together we've completed the second largest roof on our house, leaving only one more to go. As we started work on that together, we discovered yet another misordered metal problem. So we are now switching gears to a project that we'd also hoped to do before the rainy season starts in earnest, adding a bump out roof over the only entry door to our house that didn't yet have one. The posts and beam are in, now let's finish this project just in time for all the fall color.
So we use this guy with some boards on top. There's a little faint line here. That's our 3.5 inches down, nice and level all the way across. And that's where the top of the board that's right here that we're going to be attaching is. I need to take this and just rip that edge, or just make sure that I lean it down ever so slightly to account for the fact that it is not at our angle. You know, it's at a 90 degree, and we need to take 14 degrees essentially off of that for 3-on-12. So up in this space behind me here, all the way up to the soffit actually is on the other side, at least above the door, is 100% solid. So let me show you. Come inside and you look up here, and 11 inches plus going up there is, if you could see it, it's pretty dark, is solid wood. Got that header there. So any nails I drive through that space are gonna get great grip. And then we'll measure to find the studs on the remainder.
A little bit up from where we were.
Yeah, okay. Hey, that should hold.
Okay. Now I will go.
Thank you, my dear. So after we put that up, I decided to take it down again because I noted that we were like 1/8 of an inch lower than the door top, and that was not what I was hoping for. So I went ahead and gave this bad boy a bevel. You can see that it's got that 14 degrees of the roof cut onto it now. So we should be able to stick this right up to the line instead of trying to figure how far down to place it, and that will hopefully give us enough, you know, for 3/8 in case we ever put on like a soffit or something like that above that door.
You have a glittery sticker on your butt.
Oh, it came off?
It did.
You had that on my arm.
I'm going to put it on your screwdriver.
Oh, okay.
Awesome.
Glitter driver.
Yeah.
So these are ledger locks. Replacement for a 1/2 inch bolt. More than adequate for attaching this into the wall. We're going to drive in a couple into the header behind this door, and we're going to drive, there's a stud right back here. The top plate is way up here past this piece, so I can't use that. So we're going to hit this stud. I already tried with one nail, so we're going to throw in a couple of these guys. Long story short, this will go absolutely nowhere now. Probably a bad idea, but we're gonna try. Casey's doing some work up there, so I'm gonna try and get this on by myself. Got this on my head. Oh, not bad actually. It's about right. The angle is perfect. Glad I checked we weren't. Right there. Let's hold it. So with the first two rafters on, they're obviously way long compared to what they're gonna be, but that braces it off well enough that we feel okay walking away from it. The first of the ones that goes in between the beam and the ledger, and we're just trying to hit the top there. You can see right now we're down by maybe 1/8. On this side here, it's the outside of this beam that I'm running these two, matching that one right there. That way I don't have to try and bevel the outside of the beam. On the top, we have these adjustable hangers that you can make the angle go where you need it to go. Okay, here we go. You ready?
Ready.
Okay, here we go. You did take a video. Very good job.
Can I see it?
So we got these lipped off to the edge of where I want them to be. It's basically an 8 foot from the house bump out versus 8 feet on top of the slope, which not a huge difference. That's just, you know, how I had designed it. You could have done it either way. You just had to order your materials correctly. This does mean that I'll have 2 8-foot sheets going this way probably. That's the correct direction for the zip roofing, and then a little strip. I have a little strip, so that does not bother me at all. On here, we cut it off to where we have room within that 8 feet for a 2x and then the fascia board on the end.
Shapes?
What are those shapes?
What are these shapes on this concrete pad?
You don't remember? You're standing right next to your own footprints, buddy. You don't remember?
So what is this?
I think that's part of your footprint. Clarky was the one who stepped on the other side, and you stepped right there. So we got our little bitty extensions, and we're gonna put fascia on the outside of this as well. It's gonna wrap all the way around. And we got some free to us. It's just awfully short. You know, relative to these, it's not much bigger or the same size actually. And so I'm gonna let it sit down on the board a little ways relative to the actual rooftop. And then that will get wrapped with tape and then metal, so it'll still be sealed. But what we're gonna have is we're gonna have that fascia, you know, do what fascia should and be lower than that board. These little pieces here, the rafter extensions, I didn't really need those. It's like 13 inches. So, I mean, we're on 24-inch on centers with the rafters above me anyway, but I went ahead and put them in just because it is not a over the beam. You can see these are hangered into the beam, and I wanted to have it be, you know, a really good solid piece hanging off the edge there. The last thing with this is that we're only looking at, you know, just a 1 foot overhang plus on these pieces. And all that really means for us is that with this, you'll have plenty of headroom coming down to here no matter what we do. And you can see I'm standing basically underneath it now, and you can see that there's a fair amount of headroom to that beam. Oh!
Whoa!
Are you okay? You wanna try again? These two boys love to help. Gotta watch where you're going. We're gonna take it onto the porch like the last one. You take your time and plan your path. Yeah, that one's tippy. Doing great. Good job. You can see we got fascia on the outside, all the way around on this little guy here. So we are ready for those brown 1/2-inch zip system sheets to go on, and then once the first board of those is on even, I will take off the remaining bracers. But until then, they'll hold it in position for me. So something just to keep in mind with this zip system board is that as long as you keep it stored well, you really can use it for quite some time. I mean, it's supposed to be good for, I think, 25 years, 30 years, something like that. So long as it's stored properly while you're waiting to use it. And so we have a pallet that's, you know, out of the weather. And, you know, all just extra orders, ordered too much material essentially. And, you know, that has let us do a couple of projects like this that are really handy to have. It's going to go over it with a broom, get it looking really nice and clean on the surface. Any nails that are up, you know, more than just like a 16th, could telecast into the metal above. That's the worst one I'm seeing for being up high. And so I'm not wanting that. Don't see any of those, otherwise I would hammer them down. And any nails that are, you know, too low are also a problem because, you know, you lose structural integrity with the sheet. Still fine. Now we're on to tape. So I'm gonna lap this a particular way. It's just this one joint. So I'm gonna hit the bottom, I'm gonna hit the middle, and then I'm gonna run up the sides all the way around. And that's what we've been doing. And that's extra compared to what's called for. But it seems to me like it will help. And I have to get one more roll. That's too small to even do the little bit that I need to do. Turns out this is all I had left on that roll, so I gotta get some more before I can do anything else. Now you go. And the screw will be hot. You want to touch the screw, you might burn yourself.
I burn myself.
Yeah. Let go of the trigger. Stop. Damien. Stop. You listen to me. Look at me. You have to stop as soon as you can tell that it's stripping it. That's the sound of it stripping. Okay? So you want to push in firmly against the screw and find the right angle. I think there might be an angle to that screw. So here, I will hold it. Okay. Okay, try the next two. Is it in?
Oh, yeah.
Yep, now try. Now match the angle of the screw. See how it's pointed downward? Got to get that star drive bit in there. Push against it. You almost got it. There you go. Sometimes it can help to turn down the speed of your driver. Can I show you how to do that?
Yeah.
So what did you do to take off the forms?
Screw nails in.
You screwed the nails in, or you screwed the screws out?
Out.
And then what'd you do? You used a
Screwdriver. Hammer.
a hammer. So here's what we have. Came out pretty well, you know, for not being concrete, guys. You can definitely see the texture of the zip board's interior particle on both of them. But they came out pretty well, and we left them on for an extra day. Had Damien help me hit the sides, you know, to tamp it down and make sure we didn't have any big voids, and it looks like that worked pretty well. And it is thinking about a thunderstorm, but you can see we have the drip edge on, and otherwise they're pretty well ready for metal. I do need to put a little bit more tape on there on the top of the drip edge, but it's looking great. I'm sorry, Damien, one more time. What was it you were screaming at me the whole time I was up there? What did you say? You're what? And what do I need to do about it?
Give me something to eat.
So with the last sheet on this little roof, it's just dimensionally longer than the roof itself. And in order for the rib on the other side to sit on the roof, which helps it provide support, the rib on this side has to be basically at the edge or off the roof, and the screw strip is completely off the roof. So with this bad boy, we're going over the roof, wrapping over. This is gable trim, and we just need to get our same roof pitch. So we're gonna put our speed square on, and then it just gets rotated until we've got that 14 degrees right here on this edge, and that will give us the same. I'm sure if I grab this thing. So we're gonna mark that. So then the next thing I've got to do is on the inside up here at the top. I've got to take off an inch, and that's just because otherwise this is gonna pull this thing up like that, because you have that back dam on the end of those pieces, and I'd rather have the back dam than this thing. So we're gonna just have this cut an inch in here. Okay. Now we got to get the plastic off, and then we'll just see how far down we're going with this thing by putting it up, and then I'll make a mark and we'll get that squared away. So this little corner piece here, the rib, that's as far out as I want to cut it. I'm just going to cut it to where it comes down at a right angle. So I'm not going to try and match this slope. I'm just going to cut it at that right angle. So we're just going to start from the bottom and work our way up. I do need to touch up the paint before we put on the gutters, and there's some caulking to do, but I can get all that after on this side. And we're just putting one through here. I can see the rib very clearly. It was very easy to hit this guy here. And then one down here. And this piece, I'm not going to put any screws through this lower shelf. If I were to run a bead of butyl, I would feel much more comfortable putting some screws into there. But I don't think that I'm going to need it. I mean, it would have to be a heck of a wind to pull this thing off. So, because this is screwed in, it's lapped into this one, which is screwed in. The bottom is folded over, it's holding it here. We're going to have a piece of metal that's going to go in at the top, and that's going to be screwed back into the wall. So this side is done. And so is this side. So next up we need to get the drain piece that's going to go back all the way on top of those sheets to the wall. So we're going to start with our width, and we're going to go just a touch less. Has the hem, so that's going to be down on the sheets. And this, unfortunately, is I think a 4-inch back leg, and we've got to get rid of a majority of that. Where it can only come up about 1, and then we're going to bend it and come out 1 inch. And the reason for that is I want to be able to push that back in there and then run screws back through the top and basically be done with it. So at that point it just needs to just stay, because there's no way that I can get screws back into that space. And I kind of pondered on how I wanted to do all that, and I think just a couple of screws back into that far back wall section.
kept trying to scratch itself. Super annoying. Eventually, towards the end, I figured out that if I kind of torqued it, it wouldn't push it towards the face that I was trying to keep. But then I got off track, so just got to finish that out. So after sticking this thing on the ground, this is what we're looking at. It's an aggressive angle, even when you account for that. So it's going to be a tension fit at the top here. And I just used that blue fold-up tool to get that as tight as I could get it. And this piece probably, you know, it's now that I folded it part way, if I need to adjust it in the field, it'll go by hand, any of these higher areas. And this is how I'm going to be reaching way back into there, just doubling up on these so I don't have a small extension in the 1/4 inch. Now that we have the gutter on, let's look at the gutter guard in, and then we're pretty much done with this whole little project. At least until we put on what's underneath the roof on the ceiling. Suddenly, after several days of freezes, fall and the leaves and the trees is actually here. Chickens have pretty well stopped laying. A few eggs a week is all we'll be able to expect now, and they're getting older. So we may have some stew hens soon. Bologna leaves don't change color. They sort of crinkle up and then just fall off. This one hasn't really lost more than 1 or 2 yet. Just that one there, and that could have been wind. I don't think it's gotten a cold enough day. Maples, hazels, ashes, cherry, they're all well on their way. And even the oak trees back here, that tree is in agreement that it is in point of fact fall, although it will take longer than the others. One thing we do have other than fir and pine that's going to stay in leaf all year, this pretty thing right there, madrone, kind of like a tree form of manzanita. Thanks for watching. I hope you have a great day, and we'll see you next time.